Okay, so imagine you were in my position during your first playthrough of Kingdom Hearts 1. I'd got through all the Olympus tournaments without much challenge, and even Ice Titan didn't pose much of a threat, and then you choose the Platinum match on a tournament selection and you're met with this. To my complete surprise, I was facing off against Sephiroth from Final Fantasy VII. Now, Final Fantasy characters actually had a big role in the plot of Kingdom Hearts 1, but I never expected to be fighting one as a super boss. Among the 5 super bosses of Kingdom Hearts 1, Sephiroth tends to be most people's choice as the hardest, and while I would personally disagree, I don't know, the unknown always gave me more of a struggle. He's definitely no easy fight. I would also argue that Sephiroth is the true super boss of Kingdom Hearts 1, as not only does he test your knowledge of the game's fundamentals, but on some more advanced techniques too. On the whole though, I think his incarnation in Kingdom Hearts 1 is actually a pretty good fight, so let me explain why. To begin with, one of the elements I like about this fight is the sheer randomness in Sephiroth's attack patterns. You will never know what he is going to do next, which makes it so you need to be ready for many different scenarios that could occur during the fight. It's definitely something that you have to learn through experience, but once you do it makes the fight all the more fun in my opinion. However, some of the randomness can be unfair at times, in particular his Pillars of Fire attack can be pretty cruel. You barely have any time to react to it, making it so in most cases you'll get punished for something that's completely out of your control. While this also could be argued for the sword swings, there is more time to avoid those, so I don't think they are as bad, but the Pillars of Fire can definitely ruin an attempt if you don't have your defences up. Magic is completely useless in this fight aside from Cure and Aero, allowing you to heal and increase your durability. Outside of those, it's purely your Keyblade attacks and limits, and while in most cases I think it's bad that you can't use all of your toolset in a fight, I would make an exception here, as it means you have to really consider how to approach the boss and land your hits instead of just mashing the attack button or using magic from afar. If anything, I feel as if his unpredictability and the lack of magic make this fight a test of endurance for Sora and the player, which I feel not many super bosses have been able to replicate in later titles, although as a result it makes the fight feel very distinct and unique. Sephiroth has a wide variety of moves in his kit, but you won't be able to see or practice against a few of these until you're able to progress further into the fight. Some may see this as part of the challenge, but I don't think it's the nicest for newcomers, as a move like Heartless Angel could very easily make them fail what could have been their best attempt. However, this is understandable for moves such as Meteor and his Flying Slash attack, which are meant to signify the final phase of the fight. I think most of his attacks are decently telegraphed too, not counting Pillars of Fire and his attacks after teleporting, as it's fairly clear he is preparing to attack Sora, as seen with Meteor and Octo Slash. Most moves are also not too hard to counter and have several ways of doing so, which you'll learn by retrying the boss to beat him in the first place. For example, the previously mentioned Heartless Angel can be countered by having Sliding Dash equipped and being close to him, or using Strike Rage from afar. Speaking of Strike Rage, yeah, it completely breaks the fight in half. Due to the fact that you're completely invincible while performing it, you're able to avoid attacks as long as you keep on throwing the Keyblade you're wielding. The damage isn't the greatest, but it's not too bad either, and it can get you through most of the fight with relative ease. And while most people don't use Strike Raid in late game KH1, I know I certainly don't, I would highly recommend this strategy with the Diamond Dust Keyblade if you're really struggling with this fight and just want to get it over with. In regard to links with the plot of Kingdom Hearts 1, there are very few to speak of, outside of it being an event in Olympus Coliseum. The 2 cutscenes that play before and after the fight are very cool, however the links Sephiroth has to Cloud in Kingdom Hearts aren't elaborated on until Kingdom Hearts 2, so take that as you will, but at least they have a cool fight before they leave. A new version of One Winged Angel was also created for Kingdom Hearts 1, which I think is a pretty good rendition of the theme. To me it sounds as if they made a shorter version of the original theme and cleaned it up using the better sound quality on the consoles that the HD remix is released on. Here's my favourite part closer to the end of the track. However, this is the only version of the fight that I'm actually familiar with. When the HD remixes first released on PS3, people online found that Sephiroth was much harder in Final Mix in comparison to the original PS2 release. This wasn't any mistake, and they were in fact correct. The PS2 Sephiroth from the original Western release was easier than the Final Mix version. But how come? Well, the AI for Sephiroth was changed between the Western and Final Mix releases. The most egregious changes from this were that Sephiroth was made to be much more aggressive with his attacks, and his Pillars of Fire became a much more common move in retaliation to being hit. These two changes alone make the fight much more annoying in Final Mix, making it so most people tend to prefer the original version, despite not being able to access Final Mix abilities and such. Overall though, I think Sephiroth is a good boss in the original release and Final Mix, with different challenges and experiences being provided depending on what version you are playing. In Kingdom Hearts 2, Sephiroth returned once more to reclaim his throne he earned in Kingdom Hearts 1 as the hardest super boss in the game. And he fails somewhat spectacularly at that. Now don't get me wrong, I don't think Sephiroth in this game is an easy super boss, or even a bad one. I mean, I personally struggled with him in my first playthrough of Kingdom Hearts 2, but in retrospect, he was a considerable step down in terms of difficulty in comparison to his Kingdom Hearts 1 counterpart. Nonetheless, it is still a fun fight, but one of the weaker super bosses in the game. Here's why. First of all, his moveset is fairly similar to his Kingdom Hearts 1 incarnation, with a couple of additions such as his aerial combos. Some of his moves are remixed, and at the very least most are used throughout the whole fight, although it isn't too hard to avoid his attacks as long as you are careful and are not trying to rush the fight, meaning you could go most of the fight without being hit once if you know what you're doing. At least on critical though, he is fairly powerful, so you'll still need to be careful or else you'll end up on low health very quickly. Another note about his moveset is that his moves are somewhat nerfed from Kingdom Hearts 1. For example, the Pillars of Fire do nowhere near as much damage, Heartless Angel is incredibly easy to cancel with either Glide or Trinity Limit, and Meteor is a shell of what it used to be thanks to dodge rolls and gliding. His moves and phase changes are very well telegraphed throughout the fight, and you will know when he is attacking no matter what move he is using. But this leads into one of the biggest problems with this fight, which are the openings to attack him. There are several opportunities to attack Sephiroth and pull off close to 2 full combos on him, which is caused by Sephiroth's attacks having a slow end to them. The patterns in this fight are also nowhere near as varied as either version of his fight in Kingdom Hearts 1, which greatly contributes to this problem as you can almost loop Sephiroth in a sense through how predictable he is. He tends to also just walk about sometimes, which makes him an incredibly easy target. Another major flaw of this fight, and a few others in Kingdom Hearts 2, is how you can spam Reflect magic to get out of most situations pretty easily. I understand that the whole point of Reflect is to provide defense for Sora, but it, especially Reflega, makes this fight a joke, even on critical. No thought is needed for how you will avoid attacks when you can simply spam a bubble shield around you that damages anything that hits it. It's a disgrace to this fight. Outside of those flaws, the fight is alright. It is way more flashy and stylish than the Kingdom Hearts 1 fight. In particular, Octo Slash is a pretty cool reaction command to pull off. I feel that this fight was intended to be much more of a fairer duel than a test of endurance like in KH1, and it could be argued that the fight is easier to show how much Sora has grown in his combat abilities, but I don't think it's an excuse for it. This fight actually has small links to the story unlike Kingdom Hearts 1. We learn earlier in the plot of the game that Cloud is still fighting a darkness in his heart, which is confirmed to be Sephiroth. They discuss how Cloud's darkness and past events of his will always hold him back and drag him into the depths of despair, but as long as he is surrounded by light, he'll be able to overcome it. While this isn't followed up on past KH2, it's nice we get some context as to why Sephiroth is actually here, and yes, we do get a pretty cool fight in this cutscene. In terms of the music, this has to be one of my favourite renditions of One Winged Angel. It's shorter like in Kingdom Hearts 1, but it is way more grandiose thanks to the live orchestra used for 2.5. Have a listen. Unlike Kingdom Hearts 1 Final Mix, there isn't much to say about differences between Base 2 and 2 Final Mix for Sephiroth's fight. The only main differences that I can think of is that Limit Form is unavailable, which could have made the fight slightly harder in the original. However, difficulties only went up to Proud in the original because Critical was introduced with 2 final mix, so I think they're about on par for difficulty. In general, Sephiroth would probably go around the lower middle of my list of all the super bosses in Kingdom Hearts 2. He has good elements, but he's also very easy to cheese in this game, which holds the fight back a bit, but he's still quite fun if you know what you're doing. Now, you may be wondering, which of these fights against Sephiroth do I prefer? Personally, I think it depends on what you're looking for in a super boss. If you want to face a boss that will challenge you and truly make you think about how you'll play the game, then you'll find that you'll prefer Sephiroth in Kingdom Hearts 1. If you want a more relaxed but fun experience, you'll find that you'll prefer Sephiroth in Kingdom Hearts 2. Personally, I lean more to the former, so Kingdom Hearts 1 Sephiroth takes the spot for me, although I strangely had more trouble on my first playthroughs with Sephiroth in Kingdom Hearts 2. The community seems pretty divided on their opinions in regards to either fight, with some loving them and others hating them. So, I want to hear what you guys think of them. Do you like these fights? Do you despise them? Which do you prefer? Comment below so we can see what everyone thinks and you can discuss your thoughts on them. I've spoken my piece on these Sephiroth fights, and now it's time to hear yours. But before I go, there is one more thing I would like to announce.
Huh? The king? Riku?
Is this a bad time?
After quite a few requests on my live streams, I've created a Discord server that you can all feel free to join. You can get notified straight away for videos and streams, chat to people with similar interests, and have a fun time overall. If you would like to join, link is in the description. And as usual, I have links in the description to videos of me beating both KH1 and KH2 Sephiroth, as well as a video demonstrating the Strike Raid cheese technique for KH1 Sephiroth. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I hope you enjoyed the server, because yeah, that's about it. See ya.